All right, I am starting another new Substack video series, and this one is going to be, I'm going to read the entire book, Hypermodernity and the End of the World, that was published in 2019 and was co-authored with Brian Francis Culkin, with a preface by Michael Aaron Kamens, which subsequently I unpublished from Amazon. It was a self-published book by the three of us on Amazon, and I unpublished it because the three of us had completely different ideas about the book and the sequel to it that we were working on, which just simply was not working, largely due to ego battles between Brian Francis Culkin and Michael Aaron Kamens regarding how much of Kamens should be in the book. And in this book, he is only relegated to the preface because at the time that Culkin and I were doing the dialogues, Kamens was working on a book about Jordan Peterson, which alas never came to light. So he wasn't available, and so at the last minute he was available, and he did the preface. But under no circumstances or conditions was I going to do a sequel without including him as a trialogue throughout the book, not just ego male dominant alpha male Brian Francis Culkin at the top of the hill, shoving everyone else aside. And so that's really what happened, and it's a shame. Because there's a lot of good stuff in this book, and so now it's a very rare book, and I don't even have access to the original files, since I had a data crash earlier last year where I lost all the original files for this, and so they just don't exist anymore. And I'm down to my last copy of this book, and I keep getting people, academics as well as students, asking me for copies of it. Where can they get it? Because it is a foundational text of hypermodernity. 2019, and I wrote the blog essay in 2018 on hypermodernity just a year before, because though I did not originate the term pre-exists me. I looked around on the internet to find some kind of clear, coherent articulation of what hypermodernity is, because it's obvious to any perceptive person with half a brain that we are no longer in postmodernity. Something different has happened. And there wasn't anything. There wasn't one coherent explanation. So then I wrote my blog essay on hypermodernity on culturaldiscourse.com, and that was a big hit amongst my fans, my small circle of fans. They really enjoyed it. It was a big hit. And so I've included that essay in this edition as the introduction, along with some rewritten material. It's basically the same essay, but it's a little bit rewritten. And so in the video, the Substack video is 38 minutes long. I go through and read the first two pieces, namely the extraordinary preface by Michael Aaron Kamens, which is really something else, and then that essay that I wrote on my blog, the introduction on hypermodernity. So that's in there. And so I do it like this so that you can clearly see the text, and I just go through on Substack and read it line by line. So in that first video, which is uploading right now, it goes up to page 33 and ends right here, just before the first dialogue. So glancing at the table of contents, so we have the preface there by Kamens, then my introduction, and then we go into the dialogues between Culkin and I on hypermodernity and the end of the world. The first dialogue is on epochs of being, where we discuss the various Heideggerian epochs of being, from Phusis, the pre-Socratic epoch, all the way down through the various epochs, the dominance of Logos, Christ as the Logos in the Middle Ages, down to Vorhandenheit, and then eventually to enframing, and the implications of that. And then in the second dialogue, it's more Culkin's turf on neoliberal identity politics. That's more his thing than mine. And then the third dialogue is on Donald Trump and the Truman Show, where we discuss the semiotics of the Trump presidency. Culkin has written a book on Donald Trump for Zero Books. And I think that in the case of Zero Books, the number zero pretty much sums up the extent of the worth and value of that press, which is pretty much nothing. Fourth dialogue is on the expulsion of the other, and so there we examine the transformations that are brought about by hypermodernity on the self-other axis, which has been irreparably damaged, I think, quite severely by these digital lightspeed technologies that have made everything flat. As I said in my book, The New Media Invasion in 2011, where I was talking about hypermodernity without yet quite knowing it. So that is one of the first books on hypermodernity, even though the word I think may be mentioned only once or twice in the book. Fifth dialogue is Speculations on the Future, where we talk about the coming of a possible second axial age, I do have a Substack essay on that as well. And then Culkin finishes off with the epilogue. So, all right. So join me on Substack. It's only $5 a month if you would like to read through the book with me. It's not available anywhere else. It's not even available as a used copy anywhere else. Nobody's got it. And so here it is. I'm publishing it through the technologies of hypermodernity, publishing it a second time here. We'll read through the entire book. And so, as I say, $5 a month for subscriptions to my Substack, or $80 a year. There will be lots and lots more content as the year unfolds. I have all kinds of ideas for projects, dialogues, and so forth. Possibly a potential dialogue between the Russian philosopher Alexander Dugin and myself. So look forward to that. That will be available probably only to Substack subscribers. And then I also do private astrology readings for those who are interested. Hit me up at johndavidebert@gmail.com. And I am also establishing a new school, the John David Ebert School for the Study of Culture, Cosmology, and the Arts, which will be up and running with its first course. It's an 8-week course that will start on Saturday, May 14th at noon Mountain Standard Time for 2 hours. And the format of the course is that it's going through the platform called Teachable. And I've done this before when I taught a course on Carl Jung in association with Justin Murphy's Indie Thinkers project. And so what the format is that I have pre-recorded videos on each of our thinkers. The topic is transformations of consciousness through history. We'll look at Rudolf Steiner, Sri Aurobindo, Gene Gebser, Eric Neumann, Taylor Desjardins, and finally Arthur Young. So those 6 thinkers. And I'm finishing up the videos right now, the pre-recorded videos. So the student ideally will have watched about a 45-minute video. And then we'll meet in class for 2 hours to discuss the ideas. I'm anticipating a size of about 10 to 15 or 20 people, something like that. I would be surprised if it was more than that. So that'll be the first course for that school. And then the next course will be a course on the history of German idealist philosophy. We'll go through Kant, Fichte, Schelling, Hegel, and Schopenhauer. And then following that course, most likely an 8-week course reading all the books of Friedrich Nietzsche. So lots of content coming up. The courses cost $500, which is the standard going rate, as I've learned, for such courses. That's what Justin Murphy charged for the Carl Jung class that I taught for 8 weeks last year, in the springtime of last year. And that's about how many students we had, about 20 students. It was very successful. So that's it. So watch for more details. As soon as I'm done recording the videos and I get the class up and running with a link where people can subscribe, it should be in about a week from now. Getting close to the deadline point here. So in about a week, it'll be up and running, and then you can click on it, and I'll make another promo video so that I have the link, the sign-up link included in the video. Okay, that's it for now. I will see you on Substack.